This is The Professional Edge. My name's Sean Todd, tax attorney, CPA, host here on The Professional Edge for 5+ years. We're talking about the market dilemma, the recent tariff interaction with the market and the market reaction to the positive aspects of that. That's number one. The positive aspect being a hiatus for 45 days, and that sparked the market to one of the top 5 all-time returns for one single day. But then the following day, the market gave back about all those gains. So now we are here at the end of the day in quote correction territory. That is minus 10%, but we're tipping on the point of a bear market, which is minus 20% from the all-time high. So what's going to go on? Well, we got to ask ourselves, how do we get here first? Well, that was the announcement by President Trump on tariffs across the board. Depending on the country, we had different percentages of tariffs that were put on. Now, we all need to know that the United States has been paying tariffs to other countries. They have not been paying tariffs to us. So we're trying to equal or level the playing field. So when the President Trump announced the first tariff, he said, do not retaliate. And sure enough, China retaliated and they upped the ante. President Trump said, I'm willing to negotiate. I believe the number was like 20 plus countries that reached back out to President Trump to try and get some negotiations on this to alleviate the tariffs and make them more equal. So China did not do that. They upped their ante, and President Trump said, I'm willing to work with these 20 plus countries that inquired, but with the retaliatory tariff that China placed, President Trump even upped the ante again. So I believe the number is 125% tariff on Chinese goods. That is going to play out in the marketplace. We have shipments coming into California, which are going to stockpile because the economics don't work on paying 125% tariff. And in order to unload those items into the United States, I'm sure the Border Patrol is standing right there and collecting that tax due before it's allowed to leave the ship. So there is going to be a supply chain issue. Do not go out and run and grab all the toilet paper and all the ketchup and all the mustard and everything else. Just be civil with our other U.S. citizens here. So you as a listener here on The Professional Edge, that gives you that background on what's transpired in the marketplace. Yes, we had a 2023 20% plus return in the market. Then we followed that again by a 20+% rate of return. Now, in sailing terms, it's easy to hold the rudder in calm seas. Well, that was 23, 24. These are not calm seas, folks. So, gut check. If you're eating Pepto-Bismol or drinking it like Mountain Dew and you're taking antacids like M&Ms, then it might be a time to reevaluate your strategy and your portfolio allocation. Because if you're that on the edge, then you don't really have an investment plan for your safe and secure retirement. You've been holding the tiller, it's calm seas, wow, anybody can do this. Well, things have changed. They change very quickly, and that's where being with a registered investment advisor that has a fiduciary duty to act in a client's best interest adds a lot of value. We have a disciplined approach to investing. We don't get emotional on headlines. We make the plan work for each of our clients. We don't have model portfolios of A, B, and C like some or most brokerage firms do. You're a 7 on the risk, you're a B portfolio. That's not us. So in order to start that conversation, do give our office a call at 877-654-9798. That number again, 877-654-9798. Be worth to have a conversation. You are currently compiling or you have compiled your income taxes. April 15th is right around the corner. And when do you do tax planning? It's not now when you're doing your taxes for 2024. It is now for planning for 2025. There are strategies and tips that you look at, and that also If you pay the Internal Revenue Service less, that increases your rate of return because you get to keep more dollars. So if you have multiple investment accounts, you're getting like 3 or 4 1099 statements from different brokerage firms because of, quote, you want diversification. That's your definition, is having the investments at different brokerage houses and custodians. That is not diversification. That's a nightmare for being a simplified way to investing. And if you have that old 401k that's out there that you have not looked at, and now you're really scared to look at because of the market turmoil, well, that's a wake-up call to say, you know what? We can't let things just set. We need to have a strategy. We need to have a systematic way of doing things. So again, that's another wake-up call to say, you know what? I had that old 401k. I'm scared to look at it. Why? Well, the market turmoil. It was doing great the past couple of years, but now I really don't understand what was there. I haven't looked at it, haven't opened the statement. I just know it's there, haven't done anything. Well, it's time to coordinate that with your overall investment plan. And that's where we come into play as estate management counselors to help you as a listener put things in place to where they're A, simplified, number one. Number two, tax minimization. And number three, have that diversified portfolio so you're not ready to jump out the window when the market has this melee of down 20%, up 10%, and then back down 9%. So in order to get that conversation started, do give our office a call at 877-654-9798. That number again, 877-654-9798. So what's the market dilemma? Well, the other dilemma we need to look at is what the Fed is doing. The Fed, everyone looks and says, oh my gosh, the market's cratering. Fed needs to act. Fed needs to drop rates, 1% or something. Do something. Fed to the rescue. Well, I don't think they're coming to the rescue quite yet, folks, because we still have inflation and we still have a strong economy. Yes, we look around and say, okay, we don't understand the true impact of all these tariffs. That's correct. But our unemployment is at historical lows. People are gainfully employed and people are also spending. Now, the one moniker that is being tracked is consumer sentiment. Well, it's turned negative. Well, anytime the market has a large, quote, adjustment, not a correction, that's the economic terms of a correction, minus 10% from the top. Well, we are in a correction, and now some say, well, because we're down 20%, we're in a recession. We're in a bear market. Well, I don't think we're in a bear market because there's too many other things in line that are all positive. The rate of return that we had was 20% in 2023, 20% in 2024. Now, if you lose 20%, you're still playing with house money. When you run the math, you still are up on a positive rate of return. Now, are you back to where you were in the high? The answer is no, but you're okay. That's where you can't get emotional to these headlines, because when you look at the news, the only thing they report is negative news. Now, one blurb that I came across was, okay, we know that Apple makes the iPhones and they are manufactured over in China. Well, okay, we have this huge tariff being placed on China. Apple's going to have to raise prices. They're going to run out of iPhones. Well, truth be known, they had, I believe it was 5 jumbo jets that were loaded with iPhones that they brought into the United States before the tariff was enacted. Now, that's pretty strategic when you think about it. And think about how many iPhones you could fit in a jumbo jet. Now, you're thinking about the seating capacity. Well, you got to remember, every one of those jumbo jets carries freight as well. So, you just comprehend how many iPhones that is on 5 or 6 jumbo jets. So they got ahead of this supply chain crunch, and hopefully China and the United States is going to come to a resolution. And that's just one company that I got the knowledge on that, and I'm sharing that with you on it's not all gloom and doom. Yes, it is a wake-up call for you as a listener here on the Professional Edge to sit down and actually evaluate the risk that you're in the portfolio, because a lot of us get complacent when things are going very well. We don't take a look at things as close as what we should. Well, this is the wake-up call and say, okay, your portfolio now, based on the past 2 years' rates of return, has ballooned to overexposure in technology. You kept buying technology because that was the area or the sector of the economy that was really pushing up gains. Well, now it may make a lot of sense to tone that back down and rebuild that diversified portfolio and sell some of these and reallocate that portfolio. That's what we do at Estate Management Counselors. We help you walk through that and assess where your portfolio is and your risk tolerance to see how far your portfolio could drop and how far it could gain, and see if you're comfortable with that. If you're not, meaning you don't like the far loss that it is exposed to, then it's time to tighten things up to where they don't swing as much in value or price. So again, to start that analysis, give our office a call at 877-654-9798. That number again, 877-654-9798. Now, being a listener here on the Professional Edge, one of my inflation busters I've talked about is where we put together your estate plan, fully avoid the probate court process. That's one item. Number two, we do a portfolio analysis for you, come back to you with a written recommendation on pros, cons, and what we would recommend differently. And then number three, we do an income tax analysis, put that in writing on how you can actually reduce your taxes if it is available to you. Again, not going to put you in an orange jumpsuit to put you behind those steel bars and get 3 squares a day. That's not our intent. But if there's a way to reduce your taxes that's legal from a CPA and a tax attorney standpoint, then we're going to make that recommendation to you. Now, that deal is only for listeners here on the Professional Edge, and you have to go to emcthebundle.com. That is Echo Mary Charlie, thebundle.com, in order to get that. So again, trying to help our listeners out here as we face this turbulent market. And we're going to have more Market Dilemma coming up after the break.
We've all thought about it. Everyone listening will need one. Not having one can cause untold heartache, family conflict escalating to the point of a lawsuit. One simple thing that avoids all that: an effective estate plan. As a practicing tax attorney, Sean Todd with Estate Management Counselors has completed over 1,000 estate plans during his 15 years of professional practice. He can help you implement an effective estate plan, coordinate your financial accounts, and make sure you have named the proper beneficiaries to maximize your tax savings. Call 877-654-9798 today and let tax attorney Sean Todd help you implement an effective estate plan. Call 877-654-9798 today. As a tax attorney CPA for over 15 years, Sean Todd has implemented over 1,000 individual estate plans. He has recently authored an especially helpful guide, How to Unlock the Ultimate Estate Plan. This guide has helped many individuals to understand the benefits of an estate plan and how to avoid unintended disasters. Sean has made every attempt to write this in plain English. To receive this valuable guide, How to Unlock the Ultimate Estate Plan, call 1-877-654-9798 and request your complimentary copy today, or by emailing your request to info@emcadvisors.net.